I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for, other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously, a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids, and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly. And that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at NETSN.live.
Welcome, everyone, to the Power Plus Mouth Guard Beast from the East show. It's Brett Swinney here. We've got episode number 10, week 10 coming up, guys. Already double-digit weeks. Can't believe it's already almost the end of the football season. How's everybody's weekend going?
Man, going good. Horns got them a win on Saturday.
It's about time.
Well, we'll take it. But yeah, so it's been a good weekend so far, man.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend. Alabama escaped Tennessee yesterday. Wasn't happy about it, but I mean, I'll take it. And then, hey, my Seahawks won today, so
yeah. I'll let you know how my weekend goes at about 11 o'clock tonight. We'll see how this game on Sunday night goes, and I'll let you know.
Something's on the bill of your hat, Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah. See, it's the Eagles logo that they're wearing tonight with the underneath as well. I keep it in the box. Logo. Yeah, I keep it in the box.
If this game is only
the Michelin S.
Yeah.
If this game is only 20-17, Kyle, this game was overhyped. Because that was the game that everybody circled on their calendar all year.
I do not think it'll be 20-17. Maybe 37-34. I don't think there'll be a lot of defense played tonight.
As long as Dallas Goedert scores a touchdown. I need 6 points from Dallas Goedert. So
I need DeAndre Swift to go off. So
I don't care.
I need DeAndre Swift to have. I need to have at least 2 touchdowns and 125 yards at least.
Whew, that's
what I need.
It's asking a lot, Corey.
That ain't asking a whole lot.
I'm getting me one of those
2 touchdowns and a whole lot.
I'm getting me one of those Kelly Green, Jalen Hurts jerseys. I love the Kelly Green Eagles jerseys.
They are nice.
They are nice. Look, I love this logo. I wish they'd go back to the Kelly Green with this logo. That'd be awesome.
Well, speaking of nice, I had a pretty nice week last week in the pick'em, so I'd say it's not a solid 9-1 for me. It wasn't quite as good as someone else in the room, but 9-1, I'm not going to complain about that.
Well,
where does that one loss come from?
What's that?
Where does that one loss come from? Didn't I tell you to pick somebody?
Man,
Tyler, I tell you to pick somebody.
It's okay.
Okay. I told you, I said they're not going to lose.
They won. That's fine. It is what it is. Hey, Corey, let me ask you then. How many did you get correct this week, Corey? Somebody's coming at me with that one.
Here we go.
Sometimes I got to tell you, it doesn't matter how many I get correct.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Doesn't matter how many I get correct.
Hey,
well, you can criticize me for my one pick, but it doesn't matter how many you get correct. I don't see that.
I was trying to help you. I was trying to help you. I was being nice.
I'm third place right now. I'm not. I'm good.
Hey, but guess what? I know who.
If you lose by a point, that was a point you could have won by. Just throwing it out there.
I can't, Tyler. I just can't believe in them, man. They sometimes they just don't. They don't come to play. I got bitten by that early Tyler High hype, and they got me. Yeah, we can't turn your mic up, Christian.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Hear you a little better.
Okay. Yeah. Well, all I know is that Carthage beat Center badly, actually. So Vince,
Christian,
that was bad.
Hold on. No. All right. See, I wasn't gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. Christian, all right. I want you to listen to me.
Let's go.
Before you talk about Carthage and Center, you address the fact that I told you, Brett, Spence, everybody who was on this show, that Van was gonna beat Center. You didn't say that. You don't want to talk about that. When y'all told me I was crazy.
And hold on, I was with you.
No. I didn't mention you. KO was with me. KO was the only one with me.
And I talked you into it.
You didn't want to mention that. But I'll say this. I take mine on the chin. They lost. But I still believe that Center had the tools to do the job. If anybody was going to do it, Center had the most talent to do it. I mean, when you think about it, we were comparing them to Chapel Hill, and Chapel Hill was ranked number 1 in state just 2 weeks ago. So I think if anybody could have done it, it was going to be Center. That's all. I believe in people. It ain't about what's always on paper to me. I know on paper. I know who Carthage is. I'm not, I ain't crazy. I know who Carthage is.
So let me ask you this question. You think you think Pleasant Grove can upset Carthage? Because I do.
I think anybody can. If you play 4 quarters, and you get after it like they do, anybody has the ability to.
In reality, I think that PG can beat Carthage this year. Now, will they? I don't know.
Y'all are getting way ahead. Y'all are way ahead. Ahead.
I just had to get that out the way now because he talked about the Center thing. I get it though.
Started out with the disrespect. It's a good show.
But Christian, you'll understand. I'm a very humble dude. You know what I'm saying? I take my knots. I take mine. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll be wrong.
It's fine. You can be wrong every once in a while. Still get a good. How many did you get this week, Vince?
8.
All right, solid.
I got 8. Yeah.
Pretty decent week.
Yeah.
Look at him. Pretty decent week.
Man, first off, let me just say this. I missed you guys last week. I really did. Last week was a week I was out of here a lot, so I'm glad to be back tonight. But I told Brett when he sent me the list of games for the pick'em last week, I thought it was a really tough slate of games, and I really just kind of got – I don't want to say I got lucky. I had the reasons why I picked who I did on all of them, but it just kind of fell the right way for me. To go 10-0, I was shocked, honestly. And in case you weren't at Brook Hill on Friday night, after I walked off the field, I needed something good to happen. So going 10-0 was good for me.
Yeah. Like I said, Coach, y'all got some homework because
man, it's funny. We could go way back to week 1. I told Vince,
he did.
Just wait.
Yeah.
I
told Keith in the booth. I told him, I said, man, I said, when I met Coach, when I first met him, and I asked him, I said, tell me the layout of your schedule and what that looks like. Who is your, the guys you need to be looking out for, stuff like that. Because I didn't really know nobody on the schedule. Only people I knew were Grace. You know, and first thing he said, he talked about Dallas Christian, and I was like, man.
They're fun to watch when you're not on the other sideline.
Yeah, because even and I'm not saying I'm some. I was telling Keith this. I said, man, I'm not some football genius, and I don't claim to be. I said, but a lot of times I watch games, and I always try to analyze and think like, how do I stop that? How do you get around this? And I'm watching them play, and I'm like, they confusing me. That motion this way, motion to the left, motion to the right, I'm biting every time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, but you almost got to. You almost have to. I don't want to get into that. I know we on the show.
No,
but
I know.
Yeah,
but here's the thing, and this is. Let me just bang the taps drum for a minute. We talk about a lot of great players and players we've seen, but you know this now. Luke Carney, their quarterback, is one of the best quarterbacks playing high school football right now at any level. He is.
Yes.
He's a junior. He's legit. He'll go wherever he wants to go. And then Will Nettles at receiver going to Purdue. And,
Nettles. Golly, boy.
Here's the thing: when you got a guy going playing the Big Ten, even if it's Purdue, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Your only hope is that you trip him or that he trips himself sometimes. And anyway,
I mean,
it's not about that.
It was. He was just all over the place, and it seemed like even when you tried to make a play on him, he was spinning out of tackles.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, that's next level talent.
They're legit. They're good, but so 10-0 was perfect for me. That's why I appreciated 10-0 so much. I think Brett even texted me and said, "Hey man, it was a great night and a bad night all in one." I was like, "Yeah, it was."
Well, let's throw those brackets or the picks away and let's start over. Week 10, another good slate of games here. I kind of Kyle sent me a message earlier. He's like, "Hey, here's some good matchups," and I kind of was like, "Yeah, I got a lot of those in here," and we kind of agreed that there was a lot of good, meaningful games this week. Of course, when you get down to this late in the season, you're going to have a lot of those, but I really do think that this week will be a really good batch. Starting with game one, Overton and Carlisle. This is one I didn't think when we started the season I would have thought not would have been on the pick 'em here. I Overton and undefeated. They've been kind of rolling through their opponents. Haven't played the toughest schedule, but when you look at them comparison to Carlisle of the district play games, they've handled their business. And I'm going with the Mustangs to go 9-0 over Carlisle. I'm really surprised at that, but Carlisle's just not having a good season. I think they lost some players in the combination of new coach coming in, and so I just think Overton's going to take the win in this one.
I'm going to go with Overton also, and you're right. If you'd have told me 6 weeks ago we'd be talking about Overton being a chance to go 10-0, I wouldn't have probably believed you. But here's the thing. First off, I didn't know they were playing basketball last Friday night because I think they won their game 74-60. Or excuse me, that was
Carlisle.
Mount Enterprise in Carlisle.
Yeah.
And that's what scares me about Carlisle is giving up 74 points last week. How many times can you score 60 and lose? And it actually happened twice in East Texas this week. I don't know if you guys noticed this going through the scores. Carlisle scored 60 and lost. Cumbie and I can't remember who they played. Linden Kildare. That game was 84-70, I believe. Yeah. So as a defensive coach, that made me hurt. But
defense was optional in those games.
It wasn't optional; it was non-existent. But so Carlisle Mount Enterprise beats Carlisle, and then Overton has taken care of Mount Enterprise, I believe. So I think that Overton has a great chance to go 10-0. It's a good story for those guys. It's been a long time, I think, since they've been at that level, and I'm with you. I think Carlisle's just a little bit down.
Yeah, if the same thing you said, Brett, when you look at the common opponents that they've played in district play, Carlisle has given up a ton of points. They gave up 48 to Cushing and 74 last week to Mount Enterprise, where Overton against Cushing gave up 21 and only gave up 30 to Mount Enterprise. So on defense alone, I'm going to pick Overton, but I'm also happy to see the Mustangs have such a good season. They've only given up the most points they've given up all year is 30 to Mount Enterprise, but outside of that, it's been 22s, 20s, 21s, and then a couple shutouts. So Overton's having a great year. I hope they can finish it undefeated, and I'm taking them this week for sure.
Who's next? Core, you next?
Picking the Mustangs, the Green Mustangs. They're spreading the field out, throwing the ball. Hey, it's. I mean, I know they have a good band, so I know the band will be pretty exciting every Friday night, for sure. But they're spreading it out. They're throwing the football all the way around the field. So Shout out to the Mustangs, man. I'm going with the Mustangs.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Mustangs as well. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's going with the Mustangs, but Carlisle, they graduated a lot of talent, so it's just gonna take them a little bit to bounce back. So yeah, I'm going with Mustangs.
I'm gonna go with the Mustangs because I mean, right now when you look at Bryce Steele, um, right now, and I have his stats right here. Right now, I mean, especially what he did against Mount Enterprise. I mean, he had 366 yards passing, and their offense is ridiculously like they have some speed out there, receivers. And then the other thing is, I don't. It's just too much. Um, it's too much for what you call it. What's their name?
Carlisle.
Carlisle?
Yeah,
Carlisle?
Carlisle. So, sorry, my computer just went absolutely blank on me, like for no reason. I was looking at everything like that, but no, Carlisle, like y'all said, they graduated a lot, and Bryce Steele is a ridiculously good quarterback. So I'm gonna go with Carlisle.
You know, Brett, one thing
Sorry,
you mentioned.
not Carlisle.
Yeah, Overton.
Overton.
I get you.
Yeah.
You know, Brett, one thing I was going to mention, you mentioned the fact that Overton really hadn't played a tough schedule, but we talked about this at the beginning of the year with Carlisle, and we kind of gave him a pass, knowing that East Texas, that division was not very strong, and Overton
Yeah.
just kind of handled the business that Carlisle hasn't. And it'd be curious to see how it goes when they get the postseason, because that was a concern for Carlisle. That's why they played that tough non-district schedule, was to prepare them for the playoffs. Overton didn't quite get to do that, and so how does that translate for them when they get there? It'll be interesting to see.
I like to see that week 11 game is gonna be Overton and Tenaha should be a good one.
Could be. And how many times in the world would you think you might pick Overton over Tenaha? But depending on how things go this week,
Right.
that could be the conversation. You know.
Yeah.
I will say this: probably their closest game this year was Sims Bowie.
Yeah.
That was about it. I mean, they beat them 29-20.
Yeah.
I also too want to give a shout out to, and this is kind of a little off topic, but just something I'd come across that I went back to find it. We talked about the score of that Carlisle and Mount Enterprise game. How about Keegan Ash and Tracy Thompson for Mount Enterprise? Ash carried the ball 35 times for 508 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Mm.
And then Thompson had 102 yards and scored twice on 11 carries. I mean, and 5 2-point conversions also for Ash. That's like Madden numbers.
It's 34 points on his own.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
impressive.
508 yards. Wow. I mean,
I'm sorry, no, 8 touchdowns. That's 54 points on his own.
Yeah. Oof. I mean, you give up that many yards, you're not stopping anybody. So, sorry, Carlisle, if you're giving up that many yards to one back, Overton's different.
It's just crazy how their whole season turned like that. Because last year, and I was looking at this, Carlisle didn't lose a game until like week 6 or 7, and they beat Overton last year 70-10.
Yeah,
like,
and now we're looking at the other way around.
And it's the other way around, like complete opposite.
And go back to week 1, we all thought Carlisle was going to be again. Like we talked about it. Yeah,
they dropped 66 on Troop last year and beat them. They dropped 60 on ARP last year. Like they would, I don't know who it was that graduated from there, but man, he left a hole there.
And they also lost their head coach. I mean,
that makes a huge difference,
right.
Man.
That's right. I forgot about that. Okay.
So,
yeah, that's probably.
He's now at Henderson, and he's taking his lumps over there in year 1. But that can make a difference. You have a new coach comes in. Maybe he doesn't have the same players, and maybe
he got to learn these players too. So he got to learn who they are, and that makes a big difference. You're right.
All right, well that should be a good one. Game 2, the ARP Tigers versus the Edgewood Bulldogs. This is a seeding game. In this one, ARP's they've locked a playoff spot. They've secured a spot. They have 1 game remaining. This is their week. Their week 10 game, obviously, but it's their last game. They have a bye next week. So They're in. Edgewood's fighting to get in. I don't know the scenario. Kyle, you may have all that written down. I don't know if you.
I think they're in now with Winona losing.
No, well, basically, because because Grand Salene's the only one that could tie them record wise, but Edgewood holds the tiebreaker. So yeah, Edgewood's basically in.
So it's still they're looking to try to maybe jump ARP, and if they tied them and they beat them head up, they could possibly
move up to a 3. That's as high as they're going to go, but they could be a 3 seed.
That's the thing we were talking about with Edgewood a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about how sneaky they are. Like nobody really paid too much attention to them, and then they won a game here, won a game there, and now they in the mix.
But Vince, they lost to Winona.
I know.
20.
I know.
and
Sometimes it's like that.
And listen, I was the one a few weeks ago that sat here and said I think Winona's going to get in the playoffs. They didn't get the job done last week. They're not going to be in. Whatever.
They didn't.
I just that loss. When you look at if Winona would have won 2 or 3 games in the district, then it's different, right? But they haven't. They won that one, and that's been it. And the other ones haven't even really been close. And so it's like, how does that happen? And I got to go with ARP. ARP played Troop close. We think Troop is really good. They beat Winona 65-7. I think is what it was. So when you look at just the head-to-head scores with common opponents, ARP's the easy pick for me.
Yeah, easy. Paper-wise, ARP is easy. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I think they'll just win the game. And I think seeding. I mean, I know there's still some official things out there, but I think the seeding will hold Edgewood 3, Grand Saline 4, and you go from there. But I'm going to have to go with ARP for sure.
But does it feel like a little bit of a trap?
I don't think it is. Not so much because of Edgewood. I don't think that ARP's going to let it be a trap game.
ARP's they're motivated now. They've made the playoffs. They're trying to. Yeah. They don't want to play hooks first round, so they want to make sure they get that 3rd seed, lock it in. They've got a bye week to get healthy. No, they're going to be 3. Troop's going to be the 2.
I'm sorry. You're right.
West Rusk will be 1. Looks like now. So
if they play hooks, oh my god.
So they want to. It's in ARP. It's at home.
They got to.
It's ARP for me.
Senior night, yeah, you got to go with them.
Yeah, Edgewood's just if this would have been last year and it's this same situation, then I would have probably picked Edgewood. Edgewood beat ARP by 21 last year, but ARP's a better team this year, and I think Edgewood's a little down this season. They lost quite a few key players last year on the offensive side of the ball. They only returned 2 starters on the offensive side. So they lost a lot offensively, and I think it's kind of showing. They got a little youth this year with a freshman quarterback, I believe, is who they have starting over there. So a lot of youth over in Edgewood. It's just not their time. ARP's having a great year this year. So I'm taking ARP, and I think that that ARP will be the 3. It's pretty much set up. West Rusk 1, Troop 2, ARP 3, and Edgewood 4.
Just get it to Super Bork, right, Vince?
Yeah. Yeah, because he'll take care of it.
I'm picking ARP, but I'm gonna reiterate something. Right, you said they don't want to play hooks, and I hate that sentiment that we don't want to play somebody. And it's nothing against you. I'm just because a lot of people say that. I don't want to have to fit. I don't care.
A lot of people say that.
I'm in the playoffs.
It's the truth, though. Like, don't know.
But I know what you're saying, but it's like, man, listen, they can have a bad game. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing. I'm gonna say this.
I know what you're saying.
We say that, but ain't no coach gonna tell his kids that. You know, trying to avoid.
Well, I mean, is
you? Hey, listen.
I think I can speak on this. Here's the thing. It's not that you don't want to play them, but if you know that you can have. Here's the deal. Let's talk about ARP and hooks. Okay, I can either play hooks in the first round or I can play them in the 3rd round. I'd rather play them in the 3rd for a couple of reasons. Number 1, you want to advance as far as you can for your kids' sake and whatever. Number 2, if you don't have to play them till the 3rd round, then there's 2 more teams that are in a do-or-die situation that may knock them off. And the goal of the playoffs is to survive and advance, just like the college basketball tournament. Here's the thing. If somebody knocks off Duke, UCLA, Kansas, Kentucky before I get to them, I'm sorry. I'm just going to win the thing. And so I don't know if you want to avoid them, and I'm with you, Vince and Corey, both. I think you're both right to some extent. You don't want to go in there and say, hey, we don't want to play these guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I don't. Yeah,
but I don't mind waiting for 3 rounds.
You want the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
That's
don't.
like
But I don't
saying,
want to. To me, that's a fearful. Like, oh, I don't want to play. I want to avoid. Oh, forget all of the avoid.
You know, and
The
then I'll
chips
say
fall
this
where they
too.
fall. I gotta play them. I
The
gotta head up. I gotta play them and give my best shot.
If you want to win it,
yeah.
you got to beat the
That's how I
best.
think.
You got to beat everybody to get
Absolutely.
there, and that's kind
And
of
I
our
was gonna
deal.
say
Yeah.
that like it's weird because like I feel like yeah you want to play them if anything you want to avoid them for right now and get a couple of wins under your belt. But at the same time I will say this: the duality in me is like sometimes like yeah I want the best player because then people start
Yeah,
looking at me like that.
well,
You know
let's
I
put it
want to
this
go
way.
ahead and take them
Let's
out.
put it this way, Vince. Do you want to play Dallas Christian first round or the semifinals?
Semifinals for me, please.
Semifinals. But I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
this,
Okay.
and this is
Just
something I
know.
told Coach last night, Friday night when I ran into him. I said you got a couple of weeks to figure it out because y'all
Yeah,
probably gonna run into him again.
we will.
Everybody you
Yeah,
play needs to be practicing for them.
yep. You're right. No, that's the
Because
truth.
I have never seen. I told Keith I said, and I'm not gonna harp on it, but I told Keith I said the only time I felt like this where it's like I don't know where to stop the bleeding at is when I watch Argyle play. Brent remembers how I was when we Chapel Hill played Argyle. I was just
Ooh,
stunned. I was like, I don't know how you stop this.
But the other thing
I'm
about it
still
too.
like that.
I mean,
they
there's
were.
a
They
lot of
were.
things. There's a lot of things
I,
about this about why you want to wait and play somebody. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Think about 3A and 2A football in East Texas, for example. We're talking about Arp and Hooks, right?
Hmm.
They haven't played the greatest of teams in the last few weeks. You also get a better look at film. You get to see what some other teams. I mean, there's all kind of advantages to
Yeah.
waiting till later to play
You get
somebody.
time to prepare for them.
But but
And you
Corey's
never know
100.
when
percent
somebody
But
could get
Corey's 100
hurt.
percent right. Well, right, and you don't want to wish that, but
You don't want to,
Corey's
but it
100.
can happen.
Well, it can happen, but Corey's 100% right in the fact that you got to beat them anyway, right? And
Hmm.
I think everybody wants to go as far as they can and see what happens. But yeah, man, you don't. I also don't want. I don't want to win a state championship because everybody got hurt and we didn't get to play anybody. Whatever. I mean, there's got to be some validity to it. But either way, I think it's a quality thing. We talk about this all the time in our program. We talk about seeding. We know, hey, if we never say, hey, we don't want to finish second, let's try to finish third. I think some people do that. And I think that's a dangerous thing to do to get that in your kid's head. But to say, hey, it's a
Hmm.
lot better for us to finish second because we don't have to play so and so until the third. I mean, I think that's a good motivational tool for kids. Kids want to win. Kids want to ultimately the kids don't want to play those teams. There's kids in ARP right now that if they have to play hooks in the first round, they're thinking about what they're going to do in basketball practice the next week if that's what their mindset
Yep.
is, right? I mean, so there's all kind of things. It's a multifaceted thing, and I think what Corey said right as a coach, you're never going to tell your kids that. You're going to say, hey, let's just go win, but it's something to think about for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give y'all. I'm gonna give y'all a little example. Um, so a couple years ago, and I think whoever was keeping up with Chapel at the time remembers this. We were 7-3 going into the playoffs, and we had beat Vider 25-20. I think the score for Brazos Sport was 51-27, and then we played Kilgore at Rose Stadium, and probably the coldest game I've ever played in. A lot of us didn't think we were going to beat Kilgore because of how explosive their offense was. You guys remember they had Dalvin Ryder, Demarion Van Zant. They had some. I think they had two good receivers out wide. But when we got in the game, before we started the game, we were thinking about what were we going to be doing for off season and basketball and track. You know, we were asking all of our coaches all week, you know, what do we need to do for next week just in case this happens, this happens. But then when we got out there, we understood, okay, we can do this. We can get to the state championship game. At the very least, we can get to the semifinal. And look what happened.
Hmm.
We had Demetrius Brisbane and Ricky Stewart and Samari Willis going off that whole game. And defensively, y'all remember Kevion Hostin had 3 sacks on Demarion Van Zandt. And we got past them and went all the way to the 5th round and took it to the number 1 team in the state, LBJ at the time. So
Yeah.
now you would be surprised about how doubtful coaches are when they tell their kids, "Oh, you know, we're gonna," because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. Coaches will literally tell, not at my school, just other schools. Coaches will literally tell their kids if they're like 5-4 or 6-3, hey, we want to avoid this certain team. No, you don't want to avoid that certain team. You want to go through everybody that you possibly can. Now, if you lose, okay, what you lost, but you
But
can't
if you
sit
win,
there. But you can't
if
sit
you
there and
win,
avoid a team that may seem scary. I remember there was one team who tried to avoid Argyle when Argyle wasn't for it.
Well, KO, think about this. Think
Uh,
about Harmony. Harmony didn't have the greatest record last year, and they get hot, and they had to go through Murderer's Row to get where they got to.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's examples of both, and it's a slippery slope as a coach and an athlete, because Christian, what you said is right. When kids start doubting what's going on, you're beat already. I mean,
yep,
truthfully, if the
it
kids are
is. That's
doubting,
true.
you can't win the game. That's my opinion. So
All right,
I already lost.
let's
Go
go.
ahead.
Let's go game 3, guys. We've got Brownsboro and Rusk in a big time matchup here, trying to get that 4 seed. Both these teams are fighting it out in district right here. As of right now, you've got Carthage and Van at the top, 5-0, 4-0 respectively. You've got Center at 2-2. Brownsboro, Bullard, Rusk, and Canton all have one game that they've won. If there's a playoffs, there's already playoffs going on in this district right here. Rusk has got the easier schedule left of the two. They've already played the big 3 at the top. So you've got a matchup that I see. There's a couple of common opponents on the schedule. They both played Fairfield. They both played Athens. Of course, Brownsboro beat Fairfield, but not by as much as Rusk did. And then, of course, Rusk lost to Athens, and Brownsboro beat them by 1 at home. So, I mean, it's a toss-up game to me. I just think Rusk is a better team. I think Brownsboro is kind of, I think they got lucky against Bullard. I think, honestly, I think Bullard's better than Brownsboro, in my opinion. And so I'm going to go with Rusk in this one. They win one more game and get them one step closer to that 4th spot in this district.
I think we talked about this for the last few weeks about how Rusk is going to be coming. They had to play those big 3 first, right? And I don't even know that I would say that Rusk has the easier schedule left. I mean, compared to what they played the first 3 weeks, yes, right? We were kind of disappointed in the way that Rusk played with Van and played with Center, but I think they're the best team out of these two. I think that the Brownsboro loss to Canton last week, that scares me. I mean, I don't understand how that happened, but I'll go with Rusk also.
Well, I am 4 picks behind Mr. Shivers at the top of the leaderboard, so there's going to have to be some ones where I pick an upset. So, with that being said, I'm going to go with the Brownsboro Bears because I think that Brownsboro is in a must-win. If they want to make the playoffs, they have to win Friday night against Rusk because the rest of their schedule, they have Center in the last week. I don't think they're beating Center, so you can chalk them up to at least having another loss. So if they finish 2-4, if they win over Rusk, then they can get in. But if Rusk wins, I think they can beat Canton. I don't know what happened with Brownsboro last week. I'll be interested to see. I'll do some more research before tonight on the wrap-up show. But I'm interested to see what happened in that game because that was a surprise. I didn't think Canton was going to beat Brownsboro. I kind of just penciled in Brownsboro with a W there. So I feel like it's a must-win for Brownsboro, not a must-win for Rusk. So because of that and kind of not desperation, but the sense of urgency to get into the playoffs, I'm going to take Brownsboro.
Well, it's kind of a must-win, though, for Rusk because if they lose and then they're tied with Brownsboro, best-case scenario, even if they win the next week, they'd both be 2-4. So, I mean, it's a must-win for both. And Brett's right; it's playoffs for everybody right now. I mean it's a scary thing.
The cluster in that district right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Canton even threw a bigger wrench into it.
They did. I
think
mean,
that's the one team you can count out, though. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think they're getting in.
But think about this.
Well, I mean,
They've got Rusk.
If Canton beats Russ next week and Brownsboro beats Russ, they're all 3, 2, and 4, and Canton beat both of them, they're going to get in.
Yeah. Well, never mind.
What's Bullard going to end up? Because Bullard's at 1-3.
Bullard's got
They've
Van.
Kansas
got
at
Van
1
at
and
center, so
Yeah,
they're in
I
trouble.
think they're losing out.
They're 1-5.
and then
So
Kansas at 1 and 4
Bullard,
right now.
excuse me, Bullard's the team that you can eliminate out of all of this.
Which is funny because 4 weeks ago we thought they were the best of that bunch.
Yeah.
That just shows
Had a
how
chance.
district is interesting.
Bullet had a chance to control their own destiny, and they let it go.
Yeah.
They're not there
And that's
yet.
really what it boils down to. Corey's right about that. Because, Bullard is still a good team. They fell short to Brownsboro and then fell short again to Russ. I mean,
In close games.
you have
In close
opportunities in these games to go up. You have opportunities to do things, and just luck of the draw, it did not work out in their favor. In neither one of these games. It sucks because you probably got a really good team that may not make playoffs now. And that's really hard. That's a real hard pill to swallow, especially, for the coaching staff, because they know they got some good kids, right?
Well,
Canton. But Canton beating Brownsboro, I can't figure this out, but I do understand Brownsboro's other two losses. Could you just slip up and have a bad night? Absolutely. And not only just that, look at it from Canton's angle. Canton is like, I got to do something, right? We suit up for a reason, and I always talk about that. We suit up for a reason, and so if Brownsboro could have came out and said, you know what, we're gonna walk over them, and they tried to play around with him, and Canton went up early, and they just didn't let him off the hook.
Canton also has the week off, so they're going to be scouting Rusk because it's a must-win game for them.
Yeah.
So they get 2 weeks to prepare for Rusk. So it could
be 2 weeks to prepare for Canton.
I would say, man, this is hard because I really want to go with Brownsboro, but
it's not hard, Vince.
Because think about it. Corey, me and you had a conversation after Chapel Hill lost to Lindale, right? And what was the first thing you said? You said that might have been the best thing that ever happened to Chapel Hill, right?
True.
That's what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling that same energy. Like taking that L may turn Brownsboro's season around.
Vince,
Vince,
it was me and you last time with just Van. It could be me and you with Brownsboro this week. It worked out for us last time.
I'm gonna tell you why it's not. I'm gonna tell you why it's not. I'm gonna tell you why it's not.
I'm feeling that Brownsboro energy though, bro. I'm feeling it.
I'm gonna tell you why it's not Brownsboro. I'm gonna tell you why. You had 2 weeks to prepare for the worst team in the district, and you still lost. You don't get that back.
But they was probably sleeping on them. But think about it. When they're the worst team in the district,
that's how you know you're not ready. You're not ready for the moment. You're not ready for the moment.
But you need that whooping. Sometimes you need that whooping.
No.
You got 2 weeks for somebody. You better come out, especially if they're a worse.
The worst team in the district. The worst team in the district.
Hold on. Let's go back a year ago. Now I'm just giving out some examples here. Remember a year ago, White House was smacking everybody, and then they ran into Nacogdoches. And nobody could explain why Nacogdoches beat White House that night. Nobody.
I see why they beat them.
But it happened.
Go ahead and pick Brownsboro, Vince. I'll
go ahead.
Brownsboro.
Come on with me, Vince. Come on with me.
I feel like I'm on Deal or No Deal.
I'm picking Rusk. Coach Sitton ain't going out like that. I'm picking Rusk. That's what I'm doing.
I like Rusk too. That's the thing. I like Rusk, but man. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Come on, KO. We're gonna do it again. We're going with Brownsboro.
Yes.
All right, listen. Yes. That was one of the worst deal or no deal moments I've ever seen in my life. Because I mean that was not hard. Listen,
what? It's not hard.
Said, no, it's not. I mean, how do you? Okay, just like y'all said, you have 2 weeks to prepare for the worst team.
Okay.
In the district. And y'all went out there and made them look like they were one of the best. And I saw maybe a few highlights from that game. What they did, just both offensive details, both in the air and on the ground. I mean, Brownsboro, I don't even know how you even drop a game like that. So the fact that they dropped the game like that, and then Rusk was able to top Bullard, who we all thought a couple of weeks ago would have been in that bunch. I mean, this is a playoff game technically. I mean, if you really want to think about it, this is a playoff game because whoever wins this game is going to the playoffs, in my opinion. Whoever wins this game is going to the playoffs, unless Ken can somehow muster up enough energy to beat. And by the way, I am going with Rusk. Unless they muster up some kind of energy to beat Rusk will win this
But
game.
if they do beat Rusk, then it proves your theory wrong though. If they do beat Rusk in 2 weeks, it goes against what you're saying right now, right?
Yeah, it would. But what I'm saying,
I'm gonna prove my point. What Brownsboro team is going to show up? Okay, they beat Athens at the beginning of the year. Granted, that is week one. Week one, WEAK, week one.
Yeah,
that's what I call it. Week one.
They're always difficult.
They beat Athens. Athens totally different now, right? I'm giving a lot of respect. Totally different now.
Yeah.
What Brownsboro team show? 2 quality wins. They beat Athens and they beat Bullitt. Those are 2 fair quality wins. Bullitt's not a bad football team. They're about the same as Brownsboro, okay? And Brownsboro beat them. But name a convincing win that they have. The largest win that they have all season was against Maybank by 12. That's it.
But the thing is, I can't give it to you on paper. I'm just telling you what I feel. It's not.
What do your eyes tell you? What do your eyes tell you?
This ain't nothing I can hand you.
What do your eyes tell you? They are what they are.
We'll just gain
more. I just got a feeling that Brownsboro is gonna pull this off.
Vince, I'm trying to help. Vince, I'm trying to help.
It might be indigestion.
They're gonna pull off their jerseys after the game.
It might be indigestion.
It might have been the nachos.
So forget about paper for a second, Vince. Let me just tell you this. This is exactly what Russ did last year. They actually beat Center, but they go through this murderer's row at the beginning, and then they took care of business at the end. So it's not just a feeling. It's not just on paper. It's what they've done. And as somebody who's seen Rusk in person, I have a hard time believing that Brownsboro's better than they are if the season's gone the way it has. And Corey's right, man. Mad props to Athens. Athens dang near pulled off the upset last week that nobody thought they would have. But that's week once a long time ago. And I think Rusk is a lot better football team than they were, 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. Also,
has Brownsboro gotten any better? Has Brownsboro gotten any better? I don't think they have.
Well, they lost to
Kansas. It doesn't look like it.
No,
they've regressed. It's hard to regress.
I mean, but here's the thing.
You got beat by the worst team in the district by 14 points. You've gotten worse.
Here's the thing, Brownsboro. This is what
after a bye week. I'm done. I don't want to talk about them no.
They give up. Okay,
I'll talk about Brownsboro.
Here's the thing, Brownsboro. They have given up 28, 27, 15, and then they win against Spring Hill in OT and overtime. So they gave up 28. However, then you give up 28 and you lose the van. Then you give up 45 to Carthage, and then
they didn't score. They didn't score in that game.
Carthage and Van, the 2 washes. They weren't gonna win. They weren't gonna beat those teams.
They weren't gonna beat them.
And then you give up 28 to Bullard. How in God's name do you sit up here and you give up 34 to 10? That's my.
You had to beat Ken.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is this: that means they're doing this. Every time they're doing this.
So who you got? You got Rusk?
He's got Rusk. He said
I got Rusk because I just don't think that's too much. That's too much doing this. So I got Rusk in this game.
Last thing, real quick. This game's in Brownsboro. Weird things happen in Brownsboro all the time, and it's Halloween weekend. So I'm just saying, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is true. That is very true.
The weirdest high school football game I ever watched was in Brownsboro. Rusk won 3-0 on a field goal in the 4th quarter.
See what I'm
weirdest
saying?
game I've ever seen.
See?
All right.
Let's see some weird stuff in Brownsboro.
Let's go to game
not
4,
football
guys.
related.
Let's go to game 4. Longview versus Tyler High in Longview this year. This one's pretty easy to me. I'm going with the Lobos.
See, look,
Buy
see
as
the
much as they
haters.
want. Buy as much as they want.
This shouldn't even be on here
Okay.
because this ain't no good game of the week. But
Man,
go ahead, go ahead.
they're just not ready yet. But I'm curious to see what they look like. I'm really curious to
Yeah.
see if it looks different, right? Like, do they look like they belong on the field with them when it's all said and done? The score could be a 30, 40 point game, whatever, and you could still look like you belong on the field with them. It's how do you represent yourself and how do you
So,
represent the change that you're taking that you say you're going with?
so this district now, just to kind of give you guys what it looks like, you got Longview at the top at 5-0. You got Forney and McKinney North at 4-1. Tyler High is technically now in a fourth place by themselves at 3-2, but
Mm-hmm.
they have Forney and Longview left. They've lost to Lancaster, who is right below them at 2-3, and Lancaster has left on the schedule North Mesquite, which should be a win, and then that final
Should be a
game,
win.
week 11 of the season against Lufkin at home in Lancaster. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes out. But I think this one's Longview.
Yeah, give me Longview. I love Coach Woods over there at Tyler High, and I think Tyler High has done a lot this season to move forward. I think they have a great foundation now to build on to improve. I don't see them making the playoffs this year. That loss to Lancaster was the one that did them in, because they're going to have to win at least one of these last two games against either Longview or Forney. I personally don't think they win either one of them. Lancaster is going to win out. They got North Mesquite and Lufkin, so they'll win out. And I think the Lions are going to be on the outside looking in. But it's I'm with you, Jeremy. I think it's how they look against Longview. We saw how Lufkin looked against Longview. They got shut out 42-0. Now Tyler just played a really close game with Lufkin. So if we want to compare and contrast there, we'll have to see how they look on the field. I expect them to look decent against Longview, but Longview's just too strong. Longview's on another level right now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I agree with Jeremy. I feel like this is Longview's game, but I want to see how Tyler High plays them. Um, they have been what I've called a second half team all year, and I told one of my buddies last week. I said I think they're better than Lufkin. I think they're gonna beat Lufkin. I said the only way I feel like Lufkin is gonna beat them is if they beat them in the first half. And of course, he texted me in the first half. He said, "See, they losing," and I looked at the score and I said, "That's not enough." I texted him back. I said, "That's not enough." That's all
Yeah,
I said to him.
they were gonna need more.
Yeah, and when we got done with the game, I looked at the score. And I said, "Oh my God, they won!" And I was like, "See, they they are really good." I don't know what it is, what changes the mentality that changes in the second half, but I'm curious to see how they come out against Longview. I think Longview is head and heels better than them, but they're trying to rebuild a program, and I think the message is clear over there now that we're gonna compete. You know, every game we're gonna compete because a lot of them didn't think that they were gonna compete with Lancaster, and there was another game too. I can't Horn, yeah, Mesquite Horn. People
Yeah.
thought that they were just gonna get beat down by Horn, and they beat Horn. And it's
That game,
so
and you know what's
I'm
funny?
I'm
That Horn game, it wasn't as close as they indicated. It really wasn't.
yeah.
They really could have blown them out the water. To be
Yeah.
honest.
So I mean, I think Longview is a great team, and I know they're gonna pull this out. But I'm interested to see how John Tyler plays them,
So I'm gonna tell you guys this.
or Tyler High. Sorry,
Yeah,
Tyler High.
You can say John Tyler. It's a safe
yeah,
space.
yeah, it is. Um,
I don't know. They may be watching.
Tyler High. First off, Caden Granberry. Now we all know he's the shortest thing. He's about 5'6", maybe 5'5". But he's been having a good season. But I want you guys to watch, if you guys do watch this game on YouTube, because it will be on Longview's network. Willie Nelson and Derek McFall. That's the matchup that everybody needs to look out for. Now, Derek McFall has been one of the best receivers in 5A to this point. He has. He's committed to UCLA. He went on here and committed early. He has a lot of touchdowns this year. But Willie Nelson, Longview's best corner, the best corner, is literally one of the best shutdown corners just in this district. I don't know about, just in the region, but in this district, he is the best corner that is in the district. So that's going to be a big matchup. Tallahassee still has to stop Taylor Tatum. I put him at number 1 on my list. Obviously, behind him, I think is Ricky Stewart for Chapel Hill, but Taylor Tatum is still the best running back in Texas right now. So they're going to have to stop him. I think at this point, the only thing I would say is Tyler only has a chance of beating Foyt. That's about it. They only have that good snowball's chance of beating Foyt. But we'll see, because I think at halftime the score might be like 20-7, maybe, Longview. But I'm going to throw y'all a little curveball. If that Tyler High defense is as good as everybody says it is, and if they can stop Taylor Tatum, because Longview really doesn't have that much of a passing game, Tyler High is going to win this game. But I don't think they will. So give me Longview. But give me Longview by probably 7 points.
Okay. Fair enough.
Crap game, Tal. Crap game for Longview. It's rough. I'm only one gonna pick Tyler High, and I'm a fool for picking Tyler High because I want them to be successful. Because I'm all about new coaches and new beginnings. I love that, and this is a great buy-in game for a new coach. You have all of those young kids, from the freshmen, the community, everybody. This is a perfect time for them to get a chance to buy in to your new system and my philosophy. The score doesn't indicate the success of this game. It's how we play. If we come out and we give them it's a dogfight to 4 quarters and they beat us 7-6. You know what? That's a win. That's a win. Longview knows it's a win. Tyler knows it's a win. That's a win. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with the scoreboard at this point. We're going to play, because that's why I was talking about at the beginning of the conversation about your opponent. Oh, you don't want to play this. I don't care who I play. They got to beat me. Because guess what? I'm going to give you a fight. I'm going down fighting. I'm swinging. Because they can lose today. Look what happened to Chapel Hill.
I agree with you, Corey.
They can lose at any time.
I mean,
so
last year,
that's how I'm going to this game.
Last year, I watched that game. I was there, and I mean, and I think I said it on the show. Like, I called my buddy up and I said, this first half could have easily been 24-7, John Tyler. They got in the red zone like 4 times, and they just couldn't. It's like once they marched. Once they got there, it's like they just ran out of gas every single time, and they would make these mistakes that Longview capitalized on. Now I think that's a different team than now, but Longview is a different team too. So, and Longview is still the team to beat. So I'm gonna give them that respect, even though I want Tyler High to win. I would love.
One of the hardest things to do is to teach the team how to win, because there's multiple things you pull into playing the game, and you have to teach them the right. No penalties, execution, all of those things. So when you're looking at the team play and you do all of this and the other team just beats you, hey, you just take that on the chin. But you can go back and say, guys, we executed this. You going against a 5-star, you're a sophomore. He should beat you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's gonna win you in that. But we didn't turn the ball over. We didn't give them anything. The Taylor, we held him to 97 yards. He's averaging 225. That's a win. You know, that's just a little thing. That's all I'm saying. For Tyler, this is more of a buy-in program game for them. They need to come out here and compete. That's all we care about at this point. We'll let the chips fall where they fall.
Here's the thing. The only thing I would say about Longview is if they lose this game, I actually had them going back to where they were last year and beating Alito because I think they should have beat Alito last year. But the only thing I would say about this game is that if Tyler High just somehow wins this game, because I have them losing by 7. If they win this game, it's going to knock a dip in Longview. And it's going to make me feel like I picked the wrong team to go to the state championship this year. Because you look at Longview's road, like last year, you know, when they got in, you know, it looked easy at most points for them. Because it was just kind of like cruise control. We're just going to keep going. But it just, for Longview, as long as I've watched him, it's always one loss that always just knocks a dent in their armor all the time, and they just get embarrassed in the playoffs for some odd reason. And other than 2018, where they won with Haynes King as the quarterback, and they had I think they had a 4-star running back in the backfield. That's all what it's always been. They either lose a game in the regular season or they get embarrassed by some team that they shouldn't lose to in the playoffs. So that's just something to look out for. Like I said, I don't think Tyler is going to win this game, but Longview is going to win this by 7, simply because, you know, I just think that Tyler High has gotten and evolved more from what they had last year. Because I'm going to be honest with you, to be honest with you, I don't think they wanted to play last year. I think there was just so many emotions last year with the team. You know, it was hard for them to get a move on. So, but this year, I think it'll be perfect. So, I have Longview winning this game.
All right, game 5. Carthage Van district championship on the line here in this one. Carthage looking to finish off their regular season at 10-0, and the Vandals stand in their way. I think it's simple to me. Give me Carthage in this one. I don't think it's close. I think they take care of Van pretty easily, like they've done everybody else in the district.
Yeah, I think it's an easy one. Carthage, you know, I think that, you know, in terms of athletes, right, we talked about, you know, center having the best chance, but I think scheme-wise and defensively what they do, Van maybe has a shot, but I think Carthage, they just proven they're too much. I think Van's a quality football team. I just don't think that same thing with Tyler, right? I don't know if they're ready to take that next step. We'll see, but I'll take Carthage.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one for me too. Give me the Vandals. Here's why. So I'll take it. Listen,
why?
Well, I'm about to tell you.
Let's go. Hey, bro. KO got me gassed up over here, man.
They gave him some gear. That's what it is.
I'm about to tell you why. So,
hey, I love it.
Carthage is Carthage. We know how good Carthage is. They've won 25 games in a row, and they won the state title last year. They've won 9 state championships. I get it. So, nobody on this panel outside of me and Vince gave Van a chance against Center. Yes, I understand Carthage and Center are 2 completely different teams. I'm aware. But my point remains the same. There's a formula to beat good teams. We saw Lindale do it against Chapel Hill. Van did it against Center. You control the clock, control time of possession, be able to run the football, make sure you score when you have the football. Don't have any costly turnovers or anything like that. There's a formula to beat good teams. And I think Van proved that formula against Center, and I think they can do it again this Friday night. Now, it's going to be difficult. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's going to be extremely difficult. They're going to have to play a near perfect game to beat Carthage. But I think they're capable of doing that. Coach Moffitt's had 2 weeks to prepare for Carthage. I know he did last year as well. I think this Van team's I wouldn't say this Van team maybe necessarily better than last year's team. I think last year's Van's team was better, but I do think this year they can win differently than they had to last year. So I think this Van team's a little different, which could give Carthage some trouble. Also, like I said with the Brownsboro pick, I need to make up some ground on these picks, so I have to pick underdogs. So give me the Van Vandals.
I'm with you.
But I do want to say, I don't think it's as far stretched as everybody laughing just made it seem. I do think Van can give Carthage a really good game, and I think here's the thing: if Van can get a couple turnovers, at least one. That's what I said against Center, and they got a turnover and kind of change the possession. So if Van can force turnovers, then I think we got a shot there. But
I
yeah,
have a question for you, Kyle.
What's up?
How many games in a row has Carthage won at home?
I have no earthly idea.
But this game is in Carthage.
It is.
Yeah.
Probably a lot, I'm assuming.
So it would be a historical, probably a streak ender of some sort.
Absolutely. I know it. I know it would be. And the good thing is, like, if you're Van, there's no pressure really. Like, nobody expects you to win anyway.
Nobody expects you to do anything.
And you could just play loose and free. The pressure's on Carthage. They're the one that's got the streaks.
Mm-hmm.
Van's not worried about that.
Because you don't want to lose the Van, and then that conversation turns around. Yeah.
Trapping out the Van, though.
But I like
the
Vandals. I do like the Vandals.
We trapping out the Van, though.
I love that energy. I love that energy KO came with tonight. Because I was sure about to go with Carthage until he spoke up, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, you right. I should have went with my feelings. Forget all of that. I'm going with my gut. It ain't just the nachos. I think it can happen. I believe it can happen.
Come to the dark side,
Van too. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Van on that too.
Oh,
there's a way to beat
doing
him.
This.
There's a way to beat him. And I will say this though. I'll say this. They both have really good defenses, right? I don't know. I didn't expect for the game to get out of hand between them and Center too, but I just don't think this is going to be one of those games where it does get out of hand.
I think it's in the 20s.
I don't think
it's in the 20s.
Yeah. So, but I'm a believer, so I'm gonna go with Van. Yeah.
So let me throw some stats at you guys. Okay, you said it was going to be in the 20s. Carthage has scored at least 30 points in every game this season. Their lowest output was by Kilgore, which is, everyone's kind of said is one of the best teams around here, especially what Carthage has played. So just throwing that out there. So if they do that, then yeah, they have a chance. I just don't think they can hold them to that low total.
Vince, let me ask you a question. I don't mean this. This is not disrespectful. You said there's a way to beat them.
There's a way to beat everybody. It's got to be.
I would agree. There is a way to beat everybody.
You kind of sound like Corey said about the Argyle. There is a way to beat everybody at some point. They're eventually going to have to lose, so you just keep picking against them. And finally
but if that way's out there,
it was trending.
Like nobody's found it. And listen, I've been beating the Van drum for the last 5 or 6 weeks. I was the one who taught you into picking them against Center, Vince, in case you forgot this.
You did.
I missed you last week and y'all picking whatever. But
I
if there's a year to beat Carthage, maybe this is it. But we talked about how we didn't expect the game last week to get out of hand, and Carthage just dominated in the second half, right? Yeah. Like it was close at the half, and they just did what they did.
It was.
And teams like that, you worry, have they played 4 quarters? They don't have to often. And so when they get a chance to do it and they perform the way they did, that says a lot about them. I just, as much as I love Van, and I think Van could make a deep run, I have a hard time believing that they can go to Carthage and knock them off. And if they do, man, I'll be so happy for them. I really will. And that's nothing against Carthage. Nothing against Van. Yeah. It doesn't, I don't know. I think you're closer with the Brownsboro over Russ pick than you are
than this one. I might be. I mean, like I said, I'm going off of emotions really. I'm at this point, and I feel like what KO is saying about the pressure being on Carthage more than it is on Van. I kind of agree with that.
Carthage has pressure every week.
But really,
I remember
But what's the pressure? That's the one thing I'll disagree
Everybody
with.
expects them to win
Because people don't expect for you to
You
beat
don't want to be
Van.
that team that
beat
loses.
Carthage. So
I can
you're not
assure
worried
you,
about it. You know,
I can't say I can
one
assure you.
year, and it's just a this is something that I experienced growing up. We had to play. Brett remembers, Corey remembers this. We used to always have to play Corsicana. They were the last team in our district every year, and they were the best team in our district by far. And we were already out of the playoffs. We had lost to Jacksonville, and that hurt us. And we had to beat Turl. Turl was the second best team in our district. So, and back then only 2 teams went. So we come from that era where only 2 teams went to playoffs. But we got ready to play Corsicana, and I remember the paper. Everybody was saying, this and about Corsicana, and we knew it too. We believed it too. We were like, yeah, they the best team in the district. And that week of practice was the calmest week we ever had. There wasn't no pressure. We knew we wasn't going nowhere. We wasn't going to no playoffs, and we knew how good Carthage was. And Corsicana was. And did we lose to Corsicana? We did. But we only lost by 7, and we played them the closest anybody else played them all year. And we were actually up at the half and shocked everybody. I even remember a time in the third quarter when they started arguing with each other, and I said, "Look at them. They don't know what to think." Because they didn't think they were going. I was telling my teammates, I was like, they thought they were going to come out here and smack us, and they frustrated because they can't do anything. That pressure makes a difference. But what I'm saying is that pressure makes the difference.
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
That pressure is when you don't care, when everybody gave up on you, it changes things.
I just think we're past that level. And let me just tell you where I think we're at. We talk about who had pressure, and I'm not trying to hit too close to home. To me, Chapel Hill had pressure this year, right? They were being talked about.
Well,
they got that number beside their name, and they had the pressure. And here's why they had the pressure.
I agree.
They haven't been doing it for 12, 15 years like Carthage has.
Right.
And to me, well, I'm just saying, like, there's a difference in 3 or 4 years and 15
versus
and what Surratt has done.
Yeah, I got you.
You don't get where they are and still feel the pressure, because I can assure you, without knowing this, that Surratt approaches every single week with the mindset of, we are not good enough to go win the game. I'm just telling you, you don't go 15 years of what
you
they've
don't
done
get to that level and then not
unless your mindset is. I don't.
You know what? And here's the thing. I'm okay. I'm okay if I'm wrong about it, but I gotta believe that somebody's gonna figure it out at some point.
No, somebody will.
Somebody. I don't know
for sure.
And refresh my memory. Is the quarterback for Van, is that a backup or is that the starter?
The starter, Jackson will be back. He was out for the center game because he got hurt on the second drive, but they've had a bye week now, so he'll be back.
He'll be back. Okay. All right. This might be the game where I got a feeling, you know what, it might be the game where I take an L, but if I come out on top with this one, if me and KO come out on top with this one, I'm telling you, Brett, I want that belt. That's what I want.
No.
If I come out on top with this one, I want the belt.
So I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. We trapping out the Vando all weekend. That's what I'm calling. Van's gonna come in. They're gonna get the upset. I'm gonna tell you why.
Yes,
I said the winner of center and Van is gonna beat Carthage. I had that feeling all year.
Okay.
I said somebody's got to beat Carthage. Somebody.
Yeah.
And if this is the best year to do it, this is the best year to do it. Right? If center came out, Mollywop Van, they gonna give Carthage all they can handle. And if they end up losing, they just end up losing. But Van has a better defense. So you're gonna trust the team with the best defense or the best offense? I always trust the team with the best defense. Defense travels, right? Defense travels no matter what. So that's what I do. I'm trusting the team with the best defense.
Okay.
Is it Van's year?
So Christian, you gotta.
Okay, let me.
Who you siding with?
Let me ask you a question.
Come on now, make it quick now. Let's go.
Can't hear him.
We rolling with it.
We can't hear you.
I can't.
No.
His headphones go off.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example, Vince. Everybody's writing off Nick Saban and Alabama this year. They lost to Texas. They ain't no good. Well, guess what? Don't be surprised when they're 12-1 and win the SEC. You have it's hard for greatness not to be great when the deck's stacked against them. And as good as
I
Van
don't
is,
disagree with you though. That's the thing. I don't disagree with you. I just
and y'all know I love defense, and y'all are right. Van probably has the better defense, but when they're close, then you got to look at the offense too. And Carthage can throw the points on the board.
Carthage can put them up.
Carthage don't blink. Carthage doesn't blink. There's all saying. I can't remember who said it, but it was all saying go. Act like you've been here before. Yeah. Carthage does that every single week.
You know, maybe before,
no matter what. The moment
I haven't. Jeremy, I haven't always been the biggest person in the room, and I have this. One of my favorite Bible stories is David and Goliath. Probably for that reason. And I'm waiting to see a giant fall. I got to see one. And I've been waiting on Carthage to drop, man, and it's got to happen. It's got to happen.
It will at some point. 100% it will.
At some point.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think your headset went dead on the other one. So.
Yeah. All right, here's the thing. Did you guys know that Jet Surratt is leading all of 480 Division II with 130.7 passer rating? Did you guys know that?
Hey, I know he is who he is. I know. Go ahead.
All right. Did you guys know he is only second? I don't know if the stat sheet is right for Dave Kemp Texas football. It probably is, but do you know that behind Cash McCollum, who was the quarterback at China Spring, he is only second behind him in 4A overall? Okay. They have on paper, I know you guys said that Van has a better defense, but y'all, let's be honest. Can Van deal with, and like I said, I don't know. I have to look this up because I don't know if it's right or not. I'll see about it later on today so I can discuss it tonight. They have 6'1", 6'2", 6'4", and 6'3". They have three good receivers. Sorry, 4 good receivers on their team that are huge. And you mean to tell me that Van's defense can – and first off, KJ Edwards and Kadarius Matlock, the running backs for Carthage, have been sensational since they've been there. Okay? So to say that Van's defense, that their front seven, really just their front seven, because I think that Carthage is going to run the ball. Carthage is going to run the ball a lot in this game. To say that their front seven is ready for those guys in the backfield, and then you got 4 tall receivers on your team that barely anybody has been able to stop, probably except for Kilgore, that they are going to stop those guys. That's not happening. Now, I get it. At some point, Carthage's reign, and who knows, it may be when Surratt leaves or probably goes gets a college job or retires. We don't know. We'll all be happy when that day happens. But the only team, and I'm going to say this for the 1,000th time, the only 2 teams that I think that can beat Carthage is Pleasant Grove and Glen Rose. That's it. That's it. And no.
In bad.
No.
Good, man. In bad.
Okay. I'll tell you guys this.
You spell Van wrong.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you guys this. If they can put pressure on Jet Surratt, maybe you guys have a point. But with that big offensive line that Carthage has, it ain't happening. So give me Carthage Bulldogs.
Real quick. Can I ask a question real quick? Christian.
I saw play this year. You think they didn't hold points on them?
Have you seen?
Was early in the season.
Seen a better?
Yeah, but that's early though.
It was early.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It matters a lot.
So you can't get better throughout the year.
No, but I mean, it's still the same type team.
But the defense carry. You can get better. You don't want to rank a team from week one.
Yeah, but you could play. Yeah, you could get better.
The same team.
Okay, wait. Hold on a second. Right now, who is the best defense in 4A? Right now, as of right now, who is the best defense in 4A? They gave Carthage problems.
That's what
earlier this year.
I mean. Is there any? Have you seen a better defense than Van?
Oh,
I'm not saying they the best, but I'm saying they got to be up there in that district. Have you seen a better defense than Van?
No, but right now in 4A
okay.
4A overall, just in East Texas, Kilgore is giving Carthage the most problems. They have the number one defense.
They're probably 3 of the best defenses I've seen right now has been Kilgore, Carthage, and Van. They putting pressure on everybody, you know. But what I'm saying is that's got to count for something when it comes to Van. The thing about Center ain't got no defense. Center ain't got no defense. They offense is crazy good, crazy athletes.
Their offense
absolute,
mask.
You know?
Their offense is the mask of the problem of what they have on defense.
But it's weird the way this works, right? When you have a great offense and a great defense, you don't get close games. One has to outdo the other. It's always something like that, right? So maybe that's why Center didn't do so good against Van, but then this did worse against Carthage. I don't know. But now you got 2 strong defensive teams. I just got a feeling it's gonna be a close game.
I guess we'll see. All right, let's go to game 6, guys.
Let's go. Let's run it.
Pine Tree, Mount Pleasant. Mount Pleasant didn't do as well as I thought they would do last week. I had White House winning, but they kind of ran away with that game. I'm looking over here at where they stand, and I'm thinking, Mount Pleasant still is looking good for a playoff spot. Pine Tree is trying to stay in there, guys, but I don't know. In this district, you've got Texas High up top, White House right there. They're on a collision course. We're going to talk about that game here in a minute. You've got Pine Tree, Marshall, and Mount Pleasant all at 2-2. So this is basically partly a playoff game right here, trying to make a playoff spot. Okay. Right now, Mount Pleasant has the win over Marshall, so they've got that in their cap. So if they beat Pine Tree, they've got wins over both the teams they're fighting for. So this is a big one for Mount Pleasant in that aspect. Marshall and Pine Tree have already played as well, and Pine Tree got the win. So they're up on Marshall too. So Marshall is the one that's kind of like, in a tough spot at this point.
Marshall beat Pine Tree.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. I was on Pine Tree's schedule. So Pine Tree is the one that needs the win. So if they're trying to make it a 3-way tie probably at this point. So thank you, KO. Thank you for that. So this is an important game. Pine Tree finishes the year with Texas High. So, that's going to be a really tough one. And Mount Pleasant finished with Hallsville, weakest team in the district. All that said, I'm taking Mount Pleasant. They've kind of had the more impressive wins to me. Their schedule's been a little bit tougher. So I'm going to go with Mount Pleasant.
I'm going to make this real quick and easy. What was the Pine Tree score last week against Hallsville? Pull up the NETSN app and look.
It was
10-7.
10-7, easy. Mount Pleasant in a blowout.
Yeah, I picked Mount Pleasant to make the playoffs a couple weeks ago. I'm sure everyone remembers. So, give me the Tigers. I think we've been arguing back and forth all year about who Pine Tree is. We still don't know who Pine Tree is.
I don't think they know yet either.
I feel fairly confident that Mount Pleasant will be the 3 seed.
Yep.
Mount Pleasant's in the playoffs, they'll be the 3 seed. Mount Pleasant wins Friday.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Mount Pleasant. I'm not gonna hold you. Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm picking Mount Pleasant.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Right now, you're looking at Texas High, White House, Mount Pleasant, and Marshall. Who does Marshall have next?
Marshall? Marshall has
basketball practice next.
Marshall has Nacogdoches. Marshall has Nacogdoches this week, and then they have White House.
They got a scrimmage next Thursday,
final
Corey
week.
said.
Yeah, they got to clean out lockers next week.
Right.
Okay,
Check in the pads.
You know what? I'm just gonna make this short and sweet. Pine Tree, I've been criticizing Pine Tree for 5 years now. Actually, 6, really. Yeah.
Disrespect.
I think at that point it's hatred, not criticism, but whatever.
Yeah.
No.
That's like for 5 years.
You can't. Like I said, I think for 3 years straight, I don't know, but I think for 3 years straight they went 5-5, 5-5, and 5-5. So I don't know if that's accurate or not, but no. I mean, shoot, give me Mount Pleasant probably like 65-21, because that's how bad this is going to be when you almost lose to Hallsville. And I think you know what? I think they would have lost to Hallsville, but there was a bad call. I think there was a bad call. So, no, give me Mount Pleasant. It's gonna be a romp.
All right.
If Pine Tree wins this game, nope, they don't get a 4th seed in the playoffs. They don't get a 4th seed in the playoffs.
And the district
they don't even get a 3rd seed. They just get White House and Texas High.
Well, that's all.
Both of those teams make the playoffs.
That's all. It's gonna have a chance anyway, because that's like Melissa and Lovejoy would be the top 2. It's the top 2 seeds in the other district, so they might as well just go ahead and take basketball season
That's
early.
crazy.
All right,
Get ready for track season.
Game number 7, guys. We've got Beckville versus Harleton in a clash of 2 undefeated teams in district, both 7-1. Beckville has been on a basketball scoring spree over the last several weeks. They've had the game. Of course, they lost to Timpson early, only scored 13. But since then, they put up 60, 35, 40, 69, 92. Take the right, 92, 74, and 68. Harleton's also put up some points, not near as big a point margin. They had 72 against Big Sandy, but I think Carleton's a solid 2 in this district, but Beckville is by far the best team. So give me Beckville in this one.
You know, I have a hard time believing that coaches listen to the show, but I guess Coach Ross heard me in week 1, and they've just been proving me wrong. All the fine folks in Beckville, I take back everything I said.
Yeah.
Beckville is.
That's what they want to hear.
That's what they want to hear. Beckville's going to win this game convincingly. I love what Coach Little does at Harleton. I think Harleton is they are what I would consider to be a very good football team in terms of you watch them play. They're hard nosed. I saw them on film earlier this year against White Oak. I love watching them play. They play a style of football that I love to watch. But Beckville, man, they are separating themselves from the pack a little bit more than even I gave them credit for, expecting them to do. So I'll take the Bearcats.
Jamie, to your point, I don't know if coaches listen in, but people do listen, and it gets back to
they do. Don't worry.
Oh yeah.
But Beckville,
let you know that right now.
Has been dominant this season. They, other than that Timpson loss, I see no reason to go against the Bearcats. They have a dynamic offense. Jacoby Williams leading the way. He's a stud. And Harleton lost to Carlisle. So give me Beckville.
Harleton lost to Carlisle. Think about that.
Vince, you don't even need to be thinking about this.
I wrote Beckville down.
Vince, don't think about it.
I don't need to know nothing. Yeah, I know. I'm just messing around.
I'm
just adding content. I'm just playing with y'all. Beckville, y'all know it's Beckville.
Vince has a Beckville shirt on right now.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Vince. Vince, you know what, guys? Listen, I love Vince, but Vince loves chaos. He just loves chaos.
I do.
I do. He wouldn't listen if this was 6A. He wouldn't even care if he would probably pick somebody like Skyline to be South Oak Cliff. That's who this guy is.
Yeah.
That's if they were in the same district, that would be this guy. He would want somebody like Skyline to be South Oak Cliff and Duncan.
That's what they come to hear.
Right.
That's what they come. That's what they want to hear.
Why we hate on Skyline? Skyline just sitting at home tonight.
I mean, that's
Skyline.
Yeah, like why are we trending?
Skyline, they're ready for basketball.
Skyline got
What do we do?
I mean,
Now,
okay.
if this is basketball, it'd be something totally
Yeah,
different. Well,
Skyline's
this is
ready
years
for
ago.
basketball season. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
here's
this
the
was
thing.
years ago. They're not the same Skyline team.
No, I'm gonna go with
What
Beckville.
you
I
got,
mean,
Christian? What you got?
I'm gonna
Beckville?
go with Beckville because, and by the way, I mean they're led by Jacoby Williams, who has 874 rushing yards on the ground all year. He had 168 last week against Ore City. And I got Beckville. This is not even a challenge for me. I got Beckville.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Beckville.
What you got next, Brett?
Corey, did you say Beckville? I think you did.
You said Beckville.
It don't even matter. Ain't nobody on this show finna go against Beckville. We're not gonna do that.
Not anymore. We're not.
Not this week.
We learned our lesson.
I won't do that. I'm not going against Beckville until they make a playoff.
Beckville said, "Hold my Gatorade."
Let's look at another. We got lots of district championships on the line. Let's look at another one. We've got White House and Texas High. Guys, I like what both teams have done this year. White House we were confused early with them. They had a couple of players out. They lost that first week. They've kind of been building on something there. But Texas High, the only concern I had with them was the close win over Legacy. And I think Legacy has been better as of late. Congrats. Shout out to Tyler Legacy. They're going to make the playoffs this season.
Wow. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They won 3 games. They won what they needed to win.
I was down at I was up in the press box. You know, I was almost half asleep when Chapel was whooping Henderson. I didn't know, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But you got White House.
Miller left him in the dust.
Yeah, White House has scored a lot of points this season. They scored 33, 51, 45, 42, 35, 57, 54, and 42. So we know they can score. I just don't know if they're at a point where they're at Texas High's level. Texas High has played excellent this season. I don't know if you guys saw that catch that was on Twitter. It was like a one-handed catch on the sideline, and then I don't know. I can't remember who the player was that made it. It was a Texas High player. Incredible play. Needless to say, I'm going with Texas High. I think they're going to win and take the district, and then White House will just settle in that number 2 spot.
Yeah, I think this district has a couple of distinct levels. The first tier is Texas High. The second tier is White House by itself. And then that third tier, to me, is Mount Pleasant, Marshall. I think that it is what makes it more interesting is that Texas High and Mount Pleasant, while it wasn't a close game, Mount Pleasant was able to put some points up. They kept it interesting a little bit longer than we thought. White House goes to Mount Pleasant last week, wins 42-14. I think Texas High wins the game, but I think the fact that it's in White House, they have a little momentum after a big road win. How long can they keep it close? How do they perform in that situation? The Texas High legacy score, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Our man Eddie cleared this up for us that Texas High lost their quarterback in that game. They were playing a young guy. That kind of changed that one. So I kind of throw that one out the window. But I think Texas High gets this one done. I think they're the better team. I think they get it done. But if White House finds a way to get it done, KO, I won't be completely shocked.
Man, I'm looking forward to this one. This is where the Red Zone game of the week will be this Friday night, so I'll be in White House. Haven't been back to the scene of that crime since my senior year.
Are you sure? Because I think you're there right
now. Yeah. Wildcat Stadium here behind me. It looks great. No, but I'm excited for this one. I think it'll be a really good game. Let's not forget, White House went to Texarkana last year and beat Texas High 32-27. Mm-hmm. So White House has proven that a lot of people would say, golly, sorry. Anyway, they went last year and beat Texas High. And a lot of people would have said last year that Texas High was the better team over White House. I think White House, they had a couple of interesting games against Henderson and Henderson and Nacogdoches. A couple of close games that were kind of interesting, but they've been rolling these past 3 weeks against Pine Tree, Hallsville, and Mount Pleasant. Texas High is Texas High. I do think they are so far they've been the class of their district this season. Give me White House on Friday night. I'm taking the Wildcats over the Tigers Friday night right here at Wildcat Stadium.
Hold on. Hold on. My phone's ringing. Hey, Eddie, what's going on? Oh, here's Kyle.
I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Yeah.
This is
Eddie wants to talk to you, Mr. Owens.
I'm actually about to DM Eddie right now. KO.
I did not even think about that. Well, at least I got a couple of days until I hear something from him.
It's
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Corey.
You want to go ahead?
No, you're good.
I was gonna make it
because I was gonna
make it very simple. It's gonna be Texas High. I don't know what White House team is gonna show up. They couldn't barely finish a game against some teams. You know, they've been pretty consistent past couple of weeks, but Texas High has been consistent all year. You know, they've beaten everybody. And they're gonna go to White House, take care of business. Good teams don't forget. They knew exactly what happened last year, not gonna let it slip away this year. So they're gonna take care of business in White House. I didn't say business, I said business. That means they're definitely gonna win the game. They take care of business.
Well, to be honest with you, we look at this White House group, and their defense and offense has been phenomenal. Well, just offensively, defense, I hadn't had a chance to look at them actually, but you think about where they were. Quarterback wise, they went from Joey Conflitti, from him going to IMG, to Josh Green, who has 15 touchdowns this year. Not a bad stat, really. They can score, especially on the ground. You look at the running backs that they have. J-Ron Williams, he's been phenomenal all year. So, but here's the problem. White House, I just feel I hadn't seen it this year, but I feel like their offense can be had at some points. And Texas High's defense is phenomenal. So, I wasn't going to do this because I like White House, especially Julius Sims. The way he's been playing all year on defense, but I'm gonna go Texas High because I just don't think White House's offense can hang with their defense. It's gonna be close early, and then I think they're gonna be White House probably by like 14 points maybe because they're gonna pull away late.
All right, Vince, who you got? White House, Texas High.
Texas High.
All right.
That was simple.
I wrote everything down that I had.
Oh, he's got it. He's ready. All right. Game 9. Another district championship on the line as we have DCAB and Hooks. DCAB is coming in the game at 6-1. They had the game canceled. Hooks at 7-1. This should be a really good contest here, fellas. Just looking down through.
Brett,
yeah.
I don't want Eddie coming after you, so let me correct you real quick. That Winsboro game got canceled, so Hooks is 7-0.
Well, they still lost.
It's a loss. When they stopped counting score, you were losing. You lost.
Yeah.
And that's my point in the whole thing. Listen, I think Winsboro's second best team in 3A. And especially in our area, right, with Malakoff and then Winsboro. I love Winsboro. That's an impressive score to be 21-14 at that point. I don't think this one's even close. I think Hooks is going to run away with this one. A lot of teams can be 7-1. Honey Grove 7-1. What do we think about that after last week, right?
Right.
So,
but Hooks beat Cooper in Cooper.
Yeah.
So give me Hooks.
We talked about Hooks at the beginning of the year, and their schedule to start out with was tough. And they're sitting here. If you want to say 7-0, 7-1, doesn't matter. If it's 7-1, it's a 7-point loss to Winsboro. If they're 7-0, they still beat the teams that were on the way. So, give me Hooks in a blowout, I think.
But that's like saying, say for example, John Jones. John Jones, we already know he's 20. I think he's like 28-0 or whatever in the UFC. But I mean, he has one loss on his record, but that was via disqualification. So that's like saying like he really didn't win that fight. Um, I'm gonna go with Hooks. Um, I just think that they are probably, in my opinion, the most dangerous team in the area, probably.
In district
Just
in district so
yeah. Go
far,
ahead.
they've given up 12 points.
Yeah. So I think they're the most dangerous team out of the two. I think they're the most dangerous team. So give me Hooks. Um, Now, don't be surprised if Hooks wins this game by maybe a field goal, probably. Nah, I'm just kidding. Give me Hooks by 14 points.
I'm gonna earn some favor back from Eddie right here. Give me Hooks.
It's a good move, Kyle. It's a good move.
Shout out to
I'm going with
shout out
Hooks.
to the fan. Shout out to the fan base that doesn't come back after an L. Y'all just got to keep on winning. So I'm going with Hooks. They don't come back after they take an L. So they better keep winning.
All right. So everyone's going with Hooks here. All right. Game 10. Another district championship on the line. Jefferson and Tatum, guys. And, looking at this game coming in, you've got Jefferson and Tatum at 3-0. You have Atlanta is at third place right now and 2-1. And you've got other teams at 1-2. They're in fourth. We talked about how they're 1-7 on the season. They have a chance to make playoffs. Interesting this year. Jefferson and Tatum have been the top of the class. Kind of Jefferson all year. We've talked about them a lot. The only game they've lost all year, some team named Timpson. I haven't really heard of those guys. I mean, I don't know how good those guys are, but that's who they've lost to. Of course, Tatum has also played a tough schedule. They had lost to Center in week 1 in a basketball game on NETSN. They also lost to Lumberton, which is a really good team in 4A. They lost to Dangerfield. Their losses are all quality losses. I mean, I just don't think that they've got the defense. You've given up a lot of games. I think Jefferson's the best team in this district. The game is in Jefferson, so give me Jefferson in this one.
You know, it's interesting because you mentioned the quality losses. What about the fact they beat West Rusk by 24 also?
Yeah.
That's
a good win.
You know, so this is a hard one for me because I'm not real sure how to take the schedules and how it's gone for both teams. You mentioned the West Rusk win, the Lumberton loss. They scored 63 against Center. We're talking about Tatum here. They scored 63 against Center. Dangerfield 34-17, and you're like, man, their record's kind of deceiving because of who they've played and what they've done. And then you look at Jefferson, and you're like, okay, they're 7-1, and their only loss was by 19 to Timpson. And we were just talking about Beckville earlier, and you saw what Timpson did to Beckville in week 1 and what Timpson's done to everybody along the way. And I'm going to go with Jefferson here because it's at home. I think they're the better team. But, man, it seems like Tatum does what Tatum always has done, what Tatum has always done, which is play a tough non-district. The win-loss record doesn't add up, and then they get hot right now and they go on a run in the playoffs. That's just kind of been – and it's not just the last 2, 3, 4 years they've done that. It's been – go back to the days of Andy Evans and Stephen Hodge and all those guys. They were doing that then, right? They were playing tough non-district games and then going to the playoffs and destroying people. So, man, I'm going to go with Jefferson, but this is really the coin flip for me this week.
Yeah, I'm taking Jefferson in this one. I think it'll be a really good game. Tatum has a ton of athletes on the field, and they're going to be very well coached, so they're going to have a good game plan. But I think Jefferson, the way Jefferson plays, where they take the air out of the football, and that can kind of take some of those athletes away from the game because you keep the offense off the field. So, yeah, give me Jefferson.
Corey?
Corey?
Here,
He's
I'm just thinking how to put it. But he just brought up a name. He said Stephen Hodges. Just hey,
that's
got some
a bad,
hey
that's
for
a bad one to
basketball
bring back.
memories.
That's a bad one to
Uh,
bring
There's
back.
just it's just some basketball memories. We had to go to Tatum, and that was the last year before they built that brand new arena. We were like number 1 all year, and they were like number 2 or 3. Packed house. Brett, were you at that game?
No, I was already graduated, but I know as
Yeah.
soon as you said that, I've seen some of the film. Yeah.
Jamie Bradley. Shout out to Jamie Bradley, by the way. Makes this miraculous 3-point shot, and he has the weirdest release. And he shoots it, makes the shot, and it was this Coach Carr. I'm pretty sure Jeremy. They play Tatum plays a certain style, right? And it's rough, and there's nothing against them, but that's how they are. They're very competitive. This is probably the best team they've had. God knows how long. Like they probably should have won state. We lose that game. Jamie Bradley hits a 3-point shot. Ken comes down. Coach J didn't call the timeout. Ken missed the shot. They win the game. That was pretty much the season for us at that point. We should have. We didn't recover after that. We lost 2 more district games, and they ended up coming to Chapel Hill. We beat them by like 20 or 30 points. I can't remember. We just blow them out. But anyway, Stephen Hodge just has a bad taste in my mouth
I'm
when
sorry,
I think
man.
about Tatum.
I'm sorry.
it's all right.
It was, it was rough. But anyway, yeah, I'm picking Tatum. Tatum's always competitive. They always compete. And I think they go for the upset over just. I think this is the year they get them. I picked them. I picked Tatum last year to do it. I don't think they're gonna let me down this year. It's just Tatum's mo. They're just tough. They compete in any sport.
Yep.
If they were a 5A school, they would probably compete in 5A.
Yep.
It's just like as one school. I'm not doubting. I'm not that they good at baseball, track, soccer, volleyball. It doesn't matter. And I don't know where they get athletes from. Between them and Dangerfield, if they ever combine districts and schools, they would beat everybody. Like literally.
It'd be a lot of travel, but yeah, you'd be right.
Right. Yeah, true. But I mean, it's just between those, because I think of those 2 districts. I mean, those 2 schools, and like they compete against anybody. They don't care.
For sure.
But I think Tatum's got them this year. I think Tatum's gonna beat Jefferson.
Okay. Vince?
I'm gonna go with Jefferson. Tatum is good. I'm ready to say that. Brett knows I'm not big about Tatum at all. But they have hung in and fought in so many games, and so many games against good teams. But I just can't. I believe Jefferson is the best team in that district. So I gotta go with them.
I'm gonna go. Wow, I'm gonna go with Jefferson. Because right now, I mean, you got to think about it. Tatum at the beginning of the year, they gave up 80 points, 80 to center. And then they lose to Dangerfield, they lose to Pittsburgh. But then they beat West Rust. But I just don't see, because Jefferson's offense and their defense, especially their secondary. Their secondary, if I was offense coordinator, I'd be scared. I'd be concerned, because I'm like, Jefferson's secondary. They're long, rangy guys. I think they have one guy who's like, I don't know, shoot 6'2", 6'3" at corner. But I just don't see where Tatum has enough to beat Jefferson. Jefferson has a lot of athletes. I mean, like I said, especially on their defense, they have a lot of athletes. So Tatum, I just don't think that they'll hang with Jefferson. And this is kind of like one of those, it'll be close for the first, maybe 1 or 2 quarters, but I'm gonna go with Jefferson on this one. This is not even a toss up for me.
All right. Okay. Let's go around. Game you're looking for, one game that you're looking for this weekend. That's one of your game of the weekend for you guys that y'all are looking at, that y'all are like, that's the game I want to see what happens in. Doesn't have to be a pick 'em game. It's going to be any game.
Man, I think even though the score may not be close, I want to see Tyler Longview. I want to see.
That's what I was about to say, Tyler Longview.
I want to see what Tyler does in a situation where they're the big underdog. The paper says, or on paper, they're probably not going to get in the playoffs, right? Things got to go really crazy for them to get in. We'll see how they respond. We've talked all year long about it. We've been begging for everybody to get on board. We've been begging for the kids to buy in, the community to buy in, and this is the week we'll find out if that's happened or not, in my opinion. So I'm curious to see how that one plays out.
Okay.
This is, and I'll be calling this game Athens and Chapel Hill. We all saw what Athens did to Kilgore. We all saw that, and I think everybody was shocked that Athens was able to. For one, I think they took the lead on Kilgore at one point. I think, I'm not sure, but at the fourth quarter it was 21-21. Chapel Hill has to, because I think that Lindale game is probably still in their heads. So now they're going to play a team that's,
So I hope it's not.
I hope it's not either. Yeah, I hope it's not either. You see me wearing the Chapel Hill shirt, but no, that has to go away for them. Hopefully that Henderson win that they had. Coach Craig McFarland did a really good job for their defense. But I'm gonna be looking at that game. But they can't drop this one. They cannot sleep on this. They cannot drop this one, because you got to think next week they have Kilgore. They have Kilgore. We're all gonna be there for that one. So they can't drop this one. So that's gonna be one interesting to see.
Kyle, you were going to say one. What you got?
White House, T-High, and Van and Carthage.
Okay. Corey?
I got 3 of them. I'm going to use old baby. Use what baby, let's say. I got all 3.
All 3, okay.
Tree. You got to say tree.
Tree?
T-R-E, tree.
All tree. Okay, go for it.
All 3 of y'all.
No,
I got
3 games you got.
I got Chapel Hill and Athens. I want to see Chapel Hill dominate. So this is good. This is gonna be a good game. I gotta see Chapel Hill get a convincing win over Athens, because that last matchup between Kilgore and Chapel Hill, once again, I was to say that Texas is gonna be on that game for obvious reasons. And then of course, so you can't overlook Athens. Chapel's got to take care of business in Athens. Then of course, Van against Carthage. I got to see if Van. This is Van's idea of testing, testing the metal a little bit, right? Are they going to beat Carthage? I mean, my gut's telling me no. It's Carthage. Carthage is going to take care of business, but I have that feeling, and this was a time for a team to beat a vulnerable Carthage, and Van has played very well. This is it, Are you going to come out here with an upset win? I don't care if you beat them by half a point if it existed. A win is a win. Can they do it? Will Carthage fall? Will they fall or not against Van? If we're trapping out the Van, though. And then, of course, I'm calling him John Tyler because I feel like this game is going to be closer than we really expect it to be. I think I think Longview was down, not by much. I think they're a good team, but I think Longview was vulnerable. If John Tyler, I'm saying John Tyler because I'm bringing back that ghost. If JT plays their best game and Longview plays a little bit below that, is it enough to beat them? If that's to that point, if they're gonna disrespect their opponent, and if they come out and play and they get this win, of course they're in the playoffs. And that's another thing you gotta pitch it too. Like, dude, you beat Longview, you pretty much in the playoffs at this point.
And guess what? That probably puts a lot of concern of who's going forward for whoever has to play Tyler High if they do win.
It is, but it's just one game. I don't want to pitch it to that. I mean, I know that it's just one game, but I want to see them put 2 halves together because they're literally a second half team. Can they put two good halves of football together and play that way? So I'm curious to see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Vince, did you have a different game, or were you saying you had Longview? Did you have something else?
I got about 3.
Okay.
So Longview, Tyler High. I want to see how that's played out. Carthage and Van. I love to see what happens there, what transpires there. And then for me, White House and Texarkana. This game was decided last year by 5 points. So, and I think both of them are still good. I know Texarkana struggled against Legacy. I kept thinking Lee in my head. I was like, "What's the word?" It's not Legacy. It's not Lee. It's Legacy. Okay. I know they struggled against them, but they're still a really good team, and I got a feeling they probably want some payback for that one, for that loss. So that's why I went with them. But I know, like I said, White House is who they are. They the truth. So I want to see what happens in that one. Those are my 3.
I don't want to keep the marathon going. One last thing. You guys that are worried about Chapel Hill and Athens, y'all are crazy. After losing 2 weeks ago, Chapel Hill is not laying an egg.
I'm not
right.
thinking about that. They not.
Well, I mean,
they're
the
finna
only
lay
reason
the wood. They're laying the wood to Athens this week.
Only
I want to
reason
see
why
how
I
they
say
play.
Yeah, I'm with you, Corey. But they're going to lay the wood to them. They're going to lay the wood to them.
Only reason why I said that game is because, for one, we saw what Athens did to Kilgore.
Yeah, but
this is kind of like
2 weeks in a row. Can Athens?
Yeah, that's
a
the
game 2 weeks in a row.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I got Chapel Hill winning by 21 points in this game simply because of what Athens did with Kilgore game. But
it's not about Athens. It's not about Athens.
It's not about Athens.
It ain't got nothing to do with Athens.
It ain't got nothing to do with them.
They're a nameless, faceless opponent on Friday night because after what happened to Chapel Hill 2 weeks ago, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they still playing Lindale in their head.
Yeah,
until they get to Kilgore, they playing Lindale.
The way they beat Henderson, and that game was not close. That game was not. Close.
It was 56.
It was a wrap
when the starters came out.
So and you know what? I hate to say this, and I'm just going. I'm not upset, but I'm just gonna defend my former team a little bit. I cannot believe the state had them 14 plus over Henderson. Like, that was, in my opinion, disrespectful. I already knew that it was gonna be bad, but to have them 14 plus to win that game, I thought that was no. Chapel Hill was way better than that.
But if you can tell your buddies, don't pay attention to that stuff. Just play the game. Let us do that. Don't pay attention to this stuff.
Oh yeah.
The game I'm looking for, fellas, is the Rusk Brownsboro game. I'm interested to see which Brownsboro team shows up. Can Rusk take care of business and kind of finish off their last couple games and seal that 4th spot, or is Brownsboro going to throw a wrench in everything and make it a big, humongous mess going into that last week of the season? So some interesting things to talk about. But we'll wrap up last week's interesting games tonight, 8:30 p.m. here on NETSN. Guys, we'll all be back with you, and should be very interesting to talk about. I'm sure there'll be some great discussion. Thanks everyone for joining us today on the Beasts from the East show, sponsored by Power Plus Mouth Guards. For Jeremy, Kyle, Corey, Vince, and Christian, we'll catch you next week right here on NETSN. See you guys.
Eat 'em up, cats.